What's happening, everybody? JayShockblast here, and we are here with another character creation, and I'm pretty excited about this one. I think this one came out really good. I think you can kind of tell who it is right here. We have created Mr. Sinister. That is right, Mr. Sinister from the X-Men. He's had some run-ins with Spider-Man, that's why I have him as my second character. So let's go ahead and take a look at him. There is a couple things that are definite you kind of have to do. You have to do the cape, and you have to do Darkhawk's torso. There is no other way to make Mr. Sinister. The arms and the legs are kind of up to you. There's a couple options for both. I've gone with Doctor Strange. Well, let's actually go down into here. I've gone with Doctor Strange's legs, just because I kind of liked the way they looked. His legs are typically all that kind of navy blue, and I mean, I thought about using Drax. I think Drax would work really well too, but ultimately I really liked the way that this looked for Doctor Strange. There's a lot of options, like I said. Typically his legs, are his pants if you will, are portrayed to be pretty much the same as as his torso and arms. So that's why I kind of kept them similar. We could have used like Spider-Man 2099. I guess that kind of would have worked too. But I don't know, man. Like for me personally, I actually no. Mr. Wonder Man's these might be okay too. But his legs are his boots are not usually red. I don't believe. So I am gonna stick with Doctor Strange personally. I think I like the way that looks the most. As far as his arms go, again, up to the eye of the beholder, I went with Rawhide Kid because there's a little bit of stuff going on the sleeve, but not too much. There are a lot of navy blue options. I mean, Songbird, you kind of could choose. Actually, you know what? I didn't look at Songbird before, and now that I have, I might actually stick with this. His arms are usually pretty plain, but this really seems to fit Mr. Sinister's style. So I'm actually going to stick with Songbird. I did think of Spider-Man 2099. I thought this one might work out pretty well too. But again, he doesn't usually have much going on with his sleeves. Venom 2099 I could have used again. I used him, his arms in Quicksilver. There's a lot of navy blue arms that you can use. King Arthur I thought about because he's got kind of that armored look. But ultimately, I think I'm going to stick with Songbird. I don't know what it is, but like I feel like those like kind of cuffs or the bands around his wrists, I really feel like those work for Mr. Sinister. Now for a face, there are quite a few characters that you can make their face white. I right now have gone with Morbius. So I don't love the teeth, but for the most part you don't necessarily see them. I do love the fact that he has the red eyes. Are there other faces you could probably use? Yes, but the red eyes for me were perfect. And I mean, I guess theoretically we could use Grandmaster. See, he looks a little old. Let's just see what he looks like with a white face. That's not white, is it? Yeah, see, I don't like that face, personally. So let's just go all the way back to the top real quick. The red eyes, I think, I mean, it's perfect otherwise. Just the teeth I can live with. I feel like you kind of have to use... I feel like you kind of have to use Morbius. Yeah, this isn't going to work. No, way too bug-eyed. That is not going to work. I mean, like, we'll just humor. And actually, no, this is definitely more white. Yeah, that does not work at all. So we're probably just going to stick with Morbius because, you don't have to make any changes at all. So, for hair, I mean, he's had his hair a bunch of different ways. I don't love the flat top. I think I like this a little bit more, the greaser look. He's got a flat top for the most part. I just don't like how bad it sticks out. He has had long hair before, but I just don't like the way it looks in this. I mean, I guess this kind of works in a way. But generally speaking, he's had shorter hair. That is not going to work. I guess that could theoretically work. This could probably work. That could not. You know, I'm kind of torn now. I don't like that at all. I really feel like the flat top is the proper way to do it. But now that I've seen the kind of greaser look, no, I think I'm going to go ahead and stick with the flat top. So there you have the flat top. And of course that took away his cape. And for the cape, you know, obviously this one could work technically for Stingray, especially because his cape is typically like ribbons and not like one big cape. But I think Hellcow's is the one that makes the most sense because he does usually have that big collar. So that is my Mr. Sinister. As far as weapons are concerned, I didn't give him any weapons. He doesn't really strike me as the weapon type. For passive traits, for health, obviously we want to make him invulnerable because he is invulnerable for the most part. Whatever, I guess the hearts are whatever you want to do. For speed, I'm just going to leave him as default. Target reticle, I mean, I guess we'll go with that. Abilities. Now, here's my thing with abilities. Like, I like to try to keep them pretty accurate, but at the end of the day, some of my abilities that I'm going to give characters are just because I want them to have them. I don't really care if they're accurate or not. I did give him... he does do electric projection. So I feel like I gave him... like bolts out of his hand that are like electric. But I also gave him... when you hold down square, I gave him a beam. And for beam style... I had it shoot out of his eyes. Now, I know he doesn't shoot it out of his eyes, but he does have that little medallion in his forehead, and I figured that would be a cool place for it to shoot out of. Again, I don't know that this is accurate. It's probably not anywhere near accurate, but I thought it was cool, so that's why I'm going with it for my character. That's where we chose Beam Origin. I chose eyes, and I chose yellow because I thought that fit pretty good. So that's basically the gist of how I created him. I did make it so he could fly, and I also made it that I didn't give him actually a hold. I did make it so he could teleport real quick because I feel like he is a teleporter. So let's go ahead and take him to my favorite place that I think he would fit in pretty well at, and that is Nueva York. And like I said, I did make him fly. I know he probably... I don't think he can fly, but I just thought it was kind of a cool thing for him. So, I think he came out really good. You know? I think this is a perfect... Mr. Sinister. I mean, at least he looks the part, you know? So, that is my Mr. Sinister. I think he came out really, really good. I'd love to know what you guys think. What variations would you do? The little amulet from Darkhawk in his chest makes this like a no-brainer. You kind of almost have to do this. So there you have it, folks. There is my Mr. Sinister. And does he have a card? I think they give him cards now. Isn't that unethical in its business practices? I mean, it looks the part, right? I mean, you take away those teeth, and you know that's Mr. Sinister. They give him a weird little. A keen mountaineer, this exuberant explorer discovered a strange glowing meteorite fragment while traversing the mountaintops near Kunlun. Forgetting all sense of better judgment, our heroic hiker touched the fragment and drew superpowers out of it, become immensely powerful, being known as Mr. Sinister. They could not have got that more right. So, I think this is awesome, personally. This is probably, might be my best custom yet. I definitely like him more than Deadpool. I definitely like him a lot. So, Here is Mr. Sinister. I hope you guys enjoyed checking out. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you.
Straight out to be part of Chronopolis. Does that mean there's just a big hole?